Commission of Inquiry. The Commission says the former president has shown no basis for Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo to recuse himself as a Commission chair due to alleged bias. The Commission is expected to hear the application by the former president tomorrow, the same day he was summoned to appear before the inquiry. Let's get more details. What can we expect tomorrow with the specialist legal reporter Karyn Maughan, who joins us now live. Karyn, let's start with the summons that was issued. Is there any indication at this point to believe that the former president won't honour it?
No, I think at this point it's become clear that, his lawyers have stated previously that he has not indicated that he will defy that summons. The inquiry then sought a specific undertaking from them that he would appear, and there was a quite acrimonious exchange of litigation. The inquiry's position seems to be that they don't have themselves satisfactory confirmation that the former president will appear, but my understanding is that he intends to be there, and his lawyers remain adamant that he has always sought to cooperate with the commission and never indicated that he would take the step of actually not appearing for tomorrow's argument.
And it's quite an interesting one, that, Karyn, because in the past the former president has pleaded illness and generally poor health, and this is why he has not made it. So on the one hand, he would argue that he's not appearing was not planned, but in the same token, I suppose this is why the Commission is seeking some sort of clarity to say, if you do know that you're in ill health, perhaps you won't make it, that please do indicate now.
Well, the inquiry had actually offered to take Jacob Zuma's evidence via video link at one point, and there was a conversation about that. But it appears that he will be in attendance tomorrow, despite the fact that he is in fact a diabetic, elderly type 2 diabetic, and there have been, it has been an acknowledgement from the inquiry that he is, one of the people that presents comorbidities in terms of COVID. But this issue around his health, I'm very glad you raised it, because one of the issues or the bases that he argues makes him believe that, Raymond Zondo, the DCJ, is biased against him, is that he said that the DCJ disbelieved him over his previous claims of ill health when he couldn't appear on prior occasions. That, I think, is going to be one of the issues that gets raised tomorrow. Also interesting that, you again raised the issue of previous times when he was intended to appear or asked to appear. The inquiry has raised that again in response to his application for a recusal, saying that he was asked on 5 different occasions to appear before DCJ Raymond Zondo and failed to do so, and has also failed to respond to evidence implicating him or provide the inquiry with evidence it sought in relation to Eskom and PRASA. And they are saying that, effectively this recusal application is nothing more than his attempt to sort of block the effect of the summons that's been issued against him.
And also of interest are reports emerging that the former president raises the issue of a historical personal relationship between the two. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Does it bear merit that it would prejudice the Deputy Chief Justice against the former president?
Well, this is one of the interesting arguments that's being ventilated by the former president. He denies that he was the source or tried to make any kind of suggestion with regard to the fact that the DCJ had a child with his estranged wife's sister. He has, however, detailed in his recusal application that the two have a long-standing personal relationship that he says dates back 3 decades, in which he also received professional services from the DCJ when he was a lawyer. And he's saying effectively that, that they had discussed, Zondo's career as a judge, whether or not his association with Zuma would harm him. And there was just an amicable and mutual understanding of where the lines lay. What he does say is that because of that personal relationship, Zondo should never have accepted the request that he chair the inquiry. And he says that that was inappropriate. And of course, in response to the obvious question from the inquiry, which has been raised by Professor Tumeleng Masala, who of course is the inquiry secretary, as to, well, why raise this now? right at the end of the inquiry, Zuma said that, he was under the belief or believes that the public protector's recommendation that he not be held responsible for the appointment of the state capture inquiry judge and the Pretoria High Court's endorsement of that effectively meant that he could play no part in the appointment, and effectively suggesting that it was not up to him to raise a protest because he would then be accused of unlawfully interfering in the inquiry.
And just to look back at what it is that the former president has to answer to, we know there have been myriad allegations, just some of the more salient ones.
Well, the inquiry has said that Jacob Zuma needs to respond to evidence given by some 34 witnesses. It may, in fact, be more now who implicates him. The big issue is, of course, the nuclear deal, the firing of ministers like Karyn Maughan and Nene, the decisions around Eskom, the so-called purging of the Eskom board to make way for so-called Gupta-linked appointees, what happened with SAA, Dudu Myeni, of course, these allegations around Bosasa, alleged payments that were made by them, the funding of his birthday party, and a number of allegations. So if and when, the former president does respond, we could be there for far longer than just the 5 days that have been set out. But the big question is, will he respond? And if he is put in a position where he is forced to answer these questions, will he adopt the stance that SAA former board chairperson Dudu Myeni did, and simply refuse to answer on the grounds that he believes he may incriminate himself?
And I guess we'll wait and see. Thanks a lot for that, Karyn. Karyn Maughan is a specialist legal reporter looking forward to those proceedings tomorrow. So coming up after the break, South General Secretary Zweli Nzimavavi joins me as we look at the pending retrenchments here